Hey everybody, this is Joe.
And this is Jenna.
From Fantastic Reviews. Today we are bringing you our review on the movie The Belko Experiment. We are going to start off with our two-sentence review, which Jenna is going to give you right now.
Okay, two-sentence review. Working in an office sucks. Kill each other. That's basically it. It's a very good commentary on corporate life. And
life in general, really. So first I wanted to talk about what we thought the movie was going to be and what it actually wound up being.
Right.
So from the trailers and knowing that James Gunn wrote it and Sean Gunn had a small part in it, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be kind of like a campy, funny, very cabin in the woodsy kind of movie.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely going to be one of those kind of just fun, rompy sort of B movies where everything's over the top and exaggerated and there's moments of hilarity involved.
Very campy.
A very campy movie, and I was really expecting that going into it.
Like, think Cabin in the Woods meets Bruce Campbell is kind of what was going on in my head.
Yeah, that's what I thought from all the previews. That's what it looked like it was going to be. It was going to be something, it was going to be a horror movie, but it was going to be funny. And that is not what this movie was.
What we actually got was a very dark, dismal, bloody, slaughtering type movie.
It made you anxious the entire way through, and they did a wonderful job with that.
Oh, did a fantastic job of keeping you anxious and keeping the tension high.
I just was not expecting it. I was thinking any moment it's going to turn and we're going to have, woo, it's going to be a fun, nope. No, that is not what happened. It was such a bummer.
The movie was put out by Blumhouse, and Blumhouse has put out some really good high-quality horror movies. When you look at their portfolio, they're movies that they specialize in low-budget movies that are in the horror genre that somehow strike absolute gold in the box office. Like, it's unbelievable how well Blumhouse movies do. But when you look at the movies that they've put out the Purge movies, they put out the Sinister movies, they put out the Paranormal Activity movies. When you look at those, I probably should have figured out that what I thought it was going to be was not what we were going to get.
I didn't know it was Blumhouse who was putting it on. I went strictly by the trailer, and had I known that they were also the people who did the Purge movies, I would have gone in with a different attitude towards it as well. I enjoyed Sinister, the first one. I thought it was phenomenal. But I've never seen any of the Paranormal Activity movies. I can't handle shaky cameras, and I've never enjoyed the Purge movies because I don't like torture porn. So knowing that going into it, would have had a different feel for it. But when you go off of the trailers, at least the ones we saw, maybe there was a different trailer out there. Yeah, it was just it's such a bummer. Like it definitely leaves you with just a pit in your stomach when you leave that movie.
But I thought it was going to be different because James Gunn is involved, and James Gunn's new claim to fame right now is the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. The first one did fantastic. Number 2 is coming out in less than a month. But because him and Sean Gunn were involved in it, I was like, well, it can't just all be doom and gloom, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
So, like I said, what I thought we were getting was Cabin in the Woods meets Bruce Campbell. What we actually got was Office Space meets The Purge, really.
Without any of the humor. Now, that's not to say there aren't a few moments that break the tension. There are a couple characters in there that throw off a few lines that make everybody laugh.
Pretty few and far in between.
They're the beginning of the movie and before all the terrible things really start happening. That's basically when those come in. Once this movie gets off the ground to the core of the movie, there's no more humor. It's just an ongoing struggle through the entire thing.
Death and destruction.
It's not to say it isn't a good movie. It was a good movie. It just was not the movie we were expecting, and one that, had I known what it was, I wouldn't have chosen to see.
However, if you do like the Purge movies, you're probably going to like this one.
Yeah. It was, again, phenomenally done. The camera work was excellent. The characters were fully fleshed out. The actors were phenomenal in all of their parts. And you feel like you're involved in what's happening. It's not a movie you can really distance yourself from, probably because it takes place in an office environment with a cast of characters we all can picture in our own work environment, whether you work in an office or not.
Well, let's talk about the story for a minute. What did
Yes.
you think about how the story arced and the turns that it took?
I think the story arced very well. You get a moment. The movie starts off right away, putting you in a moment of what's going on here, because it opens with the workers going into work, and where are all our normal security guards? Why are the guards holding guns? Why are you turning people away at the gate? What's happening? Was there a threat? And that's how the movie starts. That's how it starts. Then you get introduced to the characters. You see their interactions throughout the day, and all of a sudden, a voice comes over the speaker.
All employees, lend me your full attention.
And the building locks itself down, and they find out they'll have to kill each other.
Kill 3 of your co-workers, or we will kill 6 others.
And that is something that they think is at first a prank.
Mikey, come on, it's a joke, man.
Someone took over maybe someone hijacked something in the building. It was involved in the threat at the beginning. They don't take it very seriously. And when they start to take it seriously, they think maybe it's just a crazy guy. We're going to get out of here. It's going to be okay.
But basically, the idea is there's one protagonist. He's trying to rally everybody together to create an escape plan. And the movie does a really good job of keeping you tense, thinking that they're going to find a way out, that this can't be really happening. And then some people die, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
And then there's 80 people in the building at the time. You got to whittle that down to a cast of a few.
Yeah. So they keep coming up with ideas to escape that, seem very plausible, but they keep getting shot down. And
literally, sometimes.
Yeah. And then more people die. And then, of course, you get the group of people who just go rogue and are like, well, fuck it, we're just going to start killing people. And the one guy's like, hey, do you really think they're going to let us go if we do what they say?
Right.
So, I mean, the whole time, its tension's really high. Like, are they going to get out? Are they going to survive? Are they going to find a way to get out? Or are they just going to wind up slaughtering everybody?
Right. And now that's not to say a group of people just break off and start killing people randomly. Part of their tasks with the voice over the speaker is telling them, well, you have to kill 2 people in a half hour. Now you have to kill 20 people in 2 hours. There's a group that thinks if they follow the directions, it'll buy them time to get the rest of them out, sacrifice a few to save the rest. And Joe brings up a good point. Our main protagonist, who we find out is the protagonist through the movie, is basically saying, what makes you think they're going to stop once we follow these orders? We're never going to get out of here. We might as well stick together, try to fight, and die trying than to give in to these. And it really puts you in that spot of what would you do in that situation? There's a lot of people on both sides. Although I have to say, it gives you a pretty good feel that most of the people for most of the movie do try to stick together. It's only the handful that break off. Which just goes to show you, it's only a few assholes who mess it up for everybody else.
The movie can be interpreted as a metaphor for a number of things.
Yeah.
The business environment, government control. There's a number of things that can be interpreted from this. Whether any of it is true, who really knows?
Right.
I mean, who knows really what the director and the writers were thinking when they're creating this? I'm sure there were interviews or anything, but I haven't read any of those because I don't really like to, whatever. I like to think for myself when I see a movie like this.
Yeah.
But in the end, it becomes just this. It's a non-ending ending, and it's a very
unpleasant one.
Existential.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It ends with our main character, Mike. He survives. He's the last one. The guards come in to take him out. He meets the voice over the speaker, and it's a guy who says, this was all an experiment. We're trying to experiment on what happens with human experience, what would happen in these situations. Doesn't matter how it turns out. There was only ever going to be one survivor, and they're just collecting data. And that's his reasoning behind it. They just want to collect data. He just ruined all these people's lives. He destroyed this man's life for an experiment. And that's really the only answer you get when this movie ends. It pans out to a screen, and someone else is watching him on the screen, and there's 100 more of them where all these other experiments have taken place over the course of this day, and you hear phase 1 complete, start phase 2.
which makes you think that they're teasing a sequel. Now, whether a sequel is actually going to come out of this has yet to be seen.
Right.
The movie did pretty good in terms of numbers. It had a $5 million budget, and as of March 31st, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $9.25 million revenue at the box office.
Well, it did well.
Critically, though, it has very, very mixed reviews.
Yeah.
It's hovering around 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the actual movie reviewers from the top magazines and newspapers and other websites are very 50-50 on, well, it was good. They all agree it was pretty well made, but the story itself is kind of cliche and, again, doesn't really go anywhere. So, is it going to warrant a sequel?
It's a movie that sets up a sequel, which is a problem we're facing a lot in movies these days, is that everything's trying to branch out to a franchise. Would it have been better if it gave you a significant ending that maybe you could take into a sequel later? I think yes. Movies like this, I don't think sit well with the majority of people because I personally don't want to have to wait another 4 years to find out what happens at the end, you know? It's one of those, it's just something that leaves you with an open ending, knowing something else is going to happen, and leaving you with unresolved questions at the end. Was this really an experiment? Who's behind it all? Is it our government? Blah, 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 blah. Since it's an open-ended movie and there's no answer to it, it leaves you unsatisfied. At least it left me unsatisfied. I'm not saying it's going to be a happy ending. It's a horror movie. I would have liked to have seen them thwart the big, bad, evil guy. I would have liked to have seen a group of them escape. But we all want that. We all want something. One of them lived, but he did not live well. And that's your ending, and it's just so unsatisfying when you leave. It's just a bummer of an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't escape. Now it's on to phase 2. There's no escape, and that's just...
At the end, you ask yourself, what even is the purpose of life?
You just leave going, well, why bother with anything then, and just walk out.
Pretty much. So, scale of 5 stars, what would you give this movie?
I would give it a solid 3. It was still a good movie. I thought the writing was done well. I thought the characters were fantastic. It did keep you on your toes and keep you anxious. It just wasn't the movie I was hoping for. And I would give it more if the trailers didn't trick you into thinking it was going to be something else. I think that might also be why there's so many mixed reviews. The trailers really didn't give you a good example of what this would be. We thought it was going to be more along the lines of something like maybe an Evil Dead type of thing. Not with supernatural forces, but something campy and strange and funny at times that you could go, wasn't that hilarious and crazy?
I think it's more of an issue of the reputation of the people involved in the movie kind of preceded itself.
That too.
So like I said, James Gunn, Sean Gunn, we know them mostly now from Guardians of the Galaxy. Michael Rooker was in it. Who else was in it? There was someone else too.
Dr. Cox was in it.
That's who it is, Dr. Cox.
Dr. Cox from Scrubs. I don't know his real name, and I don't remember his name from the movie, but the guy who plays Dr. Cox was in it.
Yeah.
And
that's another point in case of their reputations preceding the movie.
That's not that there isn't moments that break up the tension, but they're at the beginning of the movie, and it goes straight into horror. And it's not horror like I would describe it. It's just uncomfortable. Which, if that was the purpose of it, you did great, guys who made this movie. But it wasn't what it was marketed as being, I want to say. I really don't feel this was marketed as that type of movie. Maybe we should have looked into who was producing it more, but are you really supposed to do that with every trailer that comes out? Trailers are supposed to at least give you a feel for what you're getting, and this one I think really was off the mark. So, what about you?
I give it a 3, 3.5. 3.5, actually.
Oh, upstaging me already, I see.
Because the story was good, because the acting was very good, the cinematography was great. I think it wasn't what I was expecting. That's probably partially on me, though. But in the end, like you said, it is pretty unfulfilling. It sounded like just a setup for a sequel, and you really shouldn't make a movie just to set it up for a sequel.
Right. Again, it seems like they're going to branch out into a franchise with it, which is an interesting concept, but we already have The Purge. We don't need another one.
So in the end, if you like The Purge, you're probably going to like this movie. If you like blood, carnage, and wanton destruction, you're also probably going to like this movie. If you like
feeling sad and disillusioned with life, you'll probably like this movie.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Did you see the Belko Experiment? Do you agree with our assessment of it? Do you have anything else to add?
One thing to take away from this movie: never work for a company that wants to put a tracking device in the back of your brain.
Or put you in the middle of nowhere in Colombia.
Yeah. So if you want movies that teach you life lessons, also a good one. Anyone wants to put a tracking device in you, please offer your foot and or arm. Because if it is a bomb, which these happen to be, you can survive without an arm or a leg for a bit. Brain, not so much. So it did teach you that. But do let us know what you thought about it if you saw it. Let us know if our illusions going into this were way off the mark and we should be better people and not read so much into trailers.
Like the video. If you liked our review, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think of the movie or our review, or both.
Make sure to like and subscribe if you care to, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah.
That'll do it for us for the Belko Experiment. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, Internet.